Okay, we're going to make the noodles, and I'm going to try to stay out of the picture. And we're going to use 7 eggs. The noodles are really easy to make. Mine is just flour, eggs, and salt, but a lot of people do put milk in theirs, and I don't put milk. So, yes, my hands have been washed. Yes, the countertops have all been washed off, but they'll need washed again since I got these eggs laying here. But we will get her done. Let me throw these all away. Get them out of the way. And wash off the counter once more. There's that. And we'll throw in some salt. Oh, probably for this many eggs, 3 teaspoons of salt, because we're going to be adding a lot of flour to this. And you don't want a tasteless noodle. And I'm just going to whip these up really good. Putting our flour in 1 cup at a time. And you usually have the same amount of flour as you do eggs, so it'll probably take, I'd say 6 cups of flour. And you just keep mixing. Eventually we'll get our hands in it, but for now we'll just do this. And I know that's a lot of noise, but just deal with it. Normally I don't measure, I just dump. 'Cause that's how I am. I'm just a dumpy kind of girl. But I was hungry for homemade chicken and noodles. And I'm going to take half of them over to my son tomorrow night for his supper and treat him for some of Mom's homemade noodles. So Chad Whip, some of these are for you. Well, that's what it looks like after 2 cups. Now we'll go to the third. And we'll mix that in. And we'll give it another dose of salt. Some people put pepper in them. Not me, I don't put pepper in anything because my stomach doesn't get along with pepper at all. Now you can see it's getting even more put together. And just keep adding flour because we don't want them to be gooey, which they are right now. So there goes another cup of flour. I think that's 4th cup. And we'll just keep mixing. And probably time to get my hands dirty. But first we'll wash them good. So all you trolls out there and say, oh my God, she didn't wash her hands. But oh my God, she does wash her hands continuously. That's another reason why I don't go live, because I watch a lot of other people's food channels with them going live, and they can be ever so perfect in their kitchen, can be ever so clean, And they still get a bunch of trolls on trying to tell them what they're doing wrong. I swear to God, people don't have enough time on their hands. They gotta constantly criticize somebody else. And if I don't do it your way, then you do it your own way. And what I always say is, you're not eating in my kitchen, so you shouldn't have any right to criticize. And I've never had really any complaints about my food yet. So, yeah, we're gonna add another cup of flour. And we'll just keep mixing until we get it the right consistency, or we think it's the right consistency. And then we shall roll it out. And I'm going to show you two ways of rolling, or two ways of cutting, the way my mom used to do, and the way that I do it the easy way now with the pizza cutter. So, and then you take all this off your fingers like this. And it's a little gooey yet, but we'll put it out on the counter and I'll show you. Yeah, I got a couple rings on that I can't get off, but we'll scrub them later with a brush. We just want to get most of the flour off. I'd love to go live to see all your comments and remarks and talk to y'all, but I don't have a lot of people that are interested in my cooking videos, so it's really hard for me to set up the camera and get everything rolling just right. So I'll do it this way. Then I'm going to dump this out on the counter. But first I'm going to flour it good. And like I said, my cabinets and my counters are clean. There. And we'll dump this out. And get all the goodies in. And we'll start mixing. And see if they're the consistency I want them. Right. This is how I do it anyway. You can do it any way you want. And you can see they're a little gooey in the inside yet, so we'll just keep mixing them and mixing them and mixing them. Now what I normally do is, instead of working with this great big batch of noodles, because it'll make a lot of noodles, doesn't look like much, but once you get them all rolled out, it's quite a bit. So what I do is I take my, well, should take a pizza cutter, but I'll just use this and cut these in half right down the middle, and then we'll put this aside. And we'll work with this one first. And I'll show you what the, see the inside's a little gooey yet, so we're probably going to need more flour as we roll. But we'll see. And I usually get my belly all flour when I do this. But you'll have that. Now I need my rolling pin. Should have got that first, shouldn't I? And I am just going to dust the rolling pin with flour, just like that, and start rolling. This is the hard part because it hurts my shoulders. I guess I'm a big wimp. And you just keep rolling. I don't have no muscle for this anymore. And I always brush out the top to make sure that you don't have any extra. Brushes out nice and smooth. And I don't like real thick noodles, but I don't like them real thin either. So we just keep rolling them out. And we'll just put a little bit more flour on our rolling pin. And in the chicken broth, I use thighs, because I always have such good luck with the fat on the thighs. So, yeah, that's what we used, is thighs. And in the broth, I put 3 cartons of chicken broth and some celery and some carrots, some celery, some celery salt, and some salt and a little bit of pepper I did put on there. Now we're just going to roll these. And I don't like real skinny noodles, but I don't like them overly fat either. So this is the way you do it with the way I do it with the pizza cutter. And then I've got my broth on the stove. Well, I was going to tell you about that. First I boiled my chicken thighs in 3 cartons of chicken broth and a gallon of water and some celery salt and some regular salt and some chunked up celery and some carrots. Then when my chicken was done, I took that all out and I strained the broth so it's nice and clear. And now I have my chicken sitting here cooling. I'm going to take all the fat off of it, chunk it up, so when the noodles are done I can toss it back into the broth for the chicken and noodles. And I know this is time consuming and you're probably thinking, oh my God, do we really have to watch all of this? We know how to make noodles. But for those of you who don't, they're really simple, they're good, they're filling. And this is what I grew up on. And we looked forward to every time we got to have chicken and noodles because they were so good. Now my sister, when she made homemade noodles, she would boil the chicken and then instead of she would use some of the chicken to put back in the chicken and noodles, but then she'd deep fry the rest of it with a nice crisp crust, and it was absolutely delicious. But that's a lot of work. And it's hot. And I've had the air off in here all day. And I'm sweating bullets right now. Okay. I don't know if you can see that or not, but those are the noodles. And they're all cut. And then run the pizza cutter underneath of them. And then I'll toss them in flour. Just like that. And go up this side. I suppose we could cut these again, huh? We don't need those great big long noodles. We just need the short ones. And I don't know if you like them this way or not, but we just leave them loose like this. And then we put flour on our hands, toss them in flour, and throw them in to cook. And they take about 25 minutes to cook. Sometimes shorter than that, but, and just, I don't know if you can see all these. All right, that's that. Then I put flour on my hands, and I just go like this, sprinkle it all over them, and toss them. And then these here bigger ones, we don't want to waste any, so we'll just toss them in. Then I cut off the sides. And I'm going to put rubs in mine, so I'll show you how to do that too. So with that, let me grab a plate and we'll put them all on a plate. And then I'll do the next half. Or better yet, I'll toss them in this bowl right here. How's that? So I'm just going to toss them in there. And you want to keep them loose because you don't want them to stick together. Okay, so there they are. That's your noodles. But on this other one here, that we're going to roll this out. I'm going to show you how my mom used to do them. A little bit more flour down. A little bit of flour on top, and then put a little bit more flour on my rolling pin, and we'll start rolling these. And like I said, this is the worst part. It is for me anyway, because I don't have the muscle that I used to have, and I sure don't have the strength in my shoulders anymore. I did have a complete shoulder replacement, I don't know, about 8 years ago. And that was hell on wheels. It took me 18 months to recover. I know that's a long time, but they had to completely redo the whole shoulder because of all the arthritis. And then after they got it all done and I started therapy, my shoulder froze up. So then they had to go back in and break it all. Now my mom, she didn't care. She was a good roller, so she could get this nice and round. But me, not so much. I used to love watching her make noodles. That and homemade bread. We looked so forward to our homemade bread. Every time she made a big batch of bread, it was in this big aluminum pan that the dough was in. And she would take that and after it went through its second raise, she would cut off slabs of bread and fry it. And we would have fried bread. Okay, now this is the way she did it. And whether I can get it to turn out is beyond me. But she used to do this, only she used to have a great big round thing of noodles that covered the whole table. And then she would flour all the top, and then she would roll it up. And this might be how all of you do it too, I don't know. And then after each roll, she would put a tad bit of flour on. I'm just going to take some out of here. And then just keep rolling. And keep rolling. And keep rolling until you got all the way to the end. And then what she would do is, with a serrated knife, which I don't have, so, well, maybe I don't think I do. I'll try to use this one. She'd cut off the ends like that. We'll deal with those later. I don't know if you can see this or not. Okay, so we got this all in a nice roll. So then she would take and cut them like this. So that way you can cut them as fat as you want or as skinny as you want. And then she would unroll them. And then they would be nice long noodles. Just unroll each one. Like so, and then just unroll, and these will leave long, since this is the way that Mom did it. She put them right in the broth like that. See? I don't know if you can see that, but see, it's all rolled up. Then we just unroll it. But to me, the pizza cutter is easier. But that's your noodle. And that's how my mother did it. And then we will do the same with them as we did the other ones. We will toss them in flour, and then we will put them in our boiling broth over there and let them cook. Aren't they cool? Just unroll, 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 and you have a big, long noodle. So we'll have some short ones and we'll have some long ones. Because we'll leave these long because that's what Mom did. Pretty cool, huh? And we'll just keep cutting until we get the whole roll cut. But when you roll them, you want to make sure that you flour each time you roll, because otherwise they might be too gooey and they'll stick together on you. This way, they don't. Oh, I'll tell you, it's hot in here, and I got the air on right now, but it's not kicked in yet out here. I had it off all day. And I'll tell you what, it is one hot mama in here. And I am one hot mama. I don't get to say that very often. One hot mama. I'm gonna have to show my son this because I don't think he made homemade noodles before, but he didn't roll them out thin enough. They were pretty thick, and I don't think he did the cutting them like Grandma did. And he loved Grandma's noodles. So we'll see if he likes Mom's tomorrow night. I'm sure he will. I don't recall ever making these when my kids were young, because my kids were picky eaters. And it was mac and cheese, fish sticks, chicken nuggets, like any average kid, I guess. Anything homemade was like, yuck. So, and you know, my mom never ever taught me how to cook. We couldn't go near the kitchen because she was old-fashioned and she was afraid we'd get burned. So we could just watch on. So when I first started cooking in my younger years, it's no wonder the kids wanted junk food with all the preservatives, because their mother thought in order to cook anything, it had to be fried in a pan of grease. That's probably why I have my stomach problems today. But then as I got older and smarter, I learned, yeah, we don't need all that grease, and butter is better. And my stomach right now today cannot handle oils. And I can tell when I go out to eat at a fast food restaurant whether I can eat the food or not just by the smell of the oil that it's fried in. I know exactly the smell and how long it'll take me after eating it to get to the restroom. Probably 5 minutes. So here we are. Look at these gorgeous noodles. Look at here. Aren't they beautiful? And that's with them rolled. That's what you get when you roll them. And these are what you get when you have a pizza cutter. Big difference, isn't there? So now we do the same thing with these. We sprinkle them all in flour so they don't stick. Toss them around a little bit. Now we're going to take them over. I'm going to check and see if my water's boiling. And like I said, we don't waste the ends, so we're just going to cut the ends into oddball noodles. Just like that. Because we don't want to waste any of these. These are gold. There we go. Now, we're going to take these over. And my water is boiling, so we're going to try to get these all in this dish loosely. And I'm going to take you with me and see if I can get you set up over here while we drop them in the... And don't mind my stove, it's a bit of a mess right now. I don't know if you can see the pan boiling or not. I'll try to give you a little glimpse of it. So you just take these and just gently, and watch the water don't splatter and burn you. And gently toss them in. And you probably can't see the kettle, but you'll have to, like I said, it takes a bit to get all this set up. And without enough followers, you know, it's kind of a headache. I love to do more cooking videos, but if I don't have the followers, little do you know, Facebook will take them off. Or if there's not enough comments or likes or whatever, then Facebook does take them off. So what's the use of doing them if they're going to be taken off? And we're going to give these a really good stir once I get them all in there, so we don't stick, and none of them stick together, because we don't want sticky noodles, now do we? And then while those are cooking, I will go ahead and clean my chicken. But first, we're going to stir these good with a wooden spoon. So we have some short ones and we have some long ones. And like I said, we'll set the timer and we'll let them cook about 25 minutes. And while those are cooking, I'll give you a glimpse here. There they are. And then while those are cooking, we shall clean our chicken. And all we do here is just, that's pretty cool now. It's a little warm, but I just take all of the skin off. That gets all disposed of. And then we cut this all up. Make sure you get all the fat off of it. It's a little warm yet, so we're going to let it cool. But then we'll just cut this up and put it in our chicken and noodles. And that's all there is to it. So for you guys that say you don't know how to make chicken and noodles, oh, baloney. That's not true, because they're so easy. But while I have you on here, I am going to clean up my hands, which are a mess, which I should have a hand brush for this, and I do, but it's in the bathroom and I'm not going to run after it. So we'll ooh, that water's hot. We'll just do the best we can with what we have here. And I put rubs in my noodles too, because my family likes the rubs. And I'll show you what rubs are. They're just eggs and flour. But, same with noodles, eggs and flour. But they're made gooey. So, I'll make some real quick. Got this little bowl here. Hopefully you can see it. And I'll grab 3 eggs. We're gonna egg out tonight, baby. There's 1, 2, and 3. And yes, I will clean up my mess when I'm done. So just don't you worry about my countertop, because it'll be nice and clean. There's a way of cleaning that too, and that's the Pampered Chef scraper. Scrapes it all nice and clean. And then we'll get a clean fork out of here. That's a spoon, that's not a fork. What the heck's going on? And we're just going to whip these up really good. And we're going to give it a douse of salt, because we don't want boring rubs. And then we're going to start adding the flour once again. Only this time by the tablespoons full. It usually takes, I think, 3 or 4 tablespoons full. We'll start with 2. See where that gets us. And you can tell because it'll be real sticky batter. Real sticky eggs, I guess you want to say. Just keep mixing and mixing and mixing. See what it looks like with just that? But we don't want it that runny. We want it gooey. So we're going to add some more flour. Maybe another tablespoon. I know that looks like a lot of flour, but it really isn't. And we'll just keep mixing this until we get it the consistency we want. And when we do, I'll show you. Nope, not yet. So we'll just add just a little bit more flour. You're thinking, oh my God. Hey, you know what? This will stick to your ribs, baby. I think we're getting there. Just the way we want it. Yep. See that? So then, that's about the way you want it. See? And then what you do, when you get ready to drop them, and it takes about 5 to 8 minutes for these to cook, so you want to do them toward the end of your noodles. Just take some on your spoon, stick your spoon down in the boiling water, and that'll slide right off and it'll become a rub. That's all there is to it. So, now you've seen me make chicken and noodles. Not live, but I wish I could be live, but like I said, Facebook, when you don't have a lot of people on live video, they don't last long. They're looking for comments and they're looking for likes and all that good stuff to keep you going. And I know I just don't have it. Otherwise, I would do lots more videos because there's a lot of stuff. I would love to show you how I cook or how I do it. Because I know all of you on here are pretty dang good cooks. You don't have to watch me. But anyway, that's it for tonight. So, I'm hot in the face. And I'm hotter than hell. And I am going to say, that's it for tonight, folks. So I hope you enjoyed it. It's not live, but it is a video. So everybody take care. Have a good night. Thanks for looking on. See you tomorrow. Bye.